Good morning. Welcome to this session. I want us to talk about power supply. Remember, you need to go through this video and you will learn a lot of things that we are discussing today. Now, yesterday I waited for your class and none attended, so I decided to record this video for what we were to cover yesterday, and it's going to help you so much. Make sure in assignment 2 you find the big blue button written power supply, and you need to get into that video and listen again. I uploaded a quiz on that. Make sure you attempt that quiz, and again a discussion forum on that. Good. Now, remember when we were talking about the hardware devices, we said the hardware is a physical component of a computer or things that you can touch in a computer. Basically, many of us know the external hardware devices like keyboard, mouse, USB, printers, monitors, all those are hardware devices. In other words, they are called peripheral devices, devices attached to the system unit. Now, power supply is part of the internal hardware devices. Remember, we talked in the motherboard, we have the power supply, we have the memory, we have the graphic cards, we have the sound cards, we have the hard disk, we have the DVD and CD-ROMs. All those are attached inside the power supply. Good. Now, from the word power supply, it is just a source that provides power to all components of a computer, provides power to all components of a computer. Now, you will know for a computer to function, it's an electronic device, so it needs power. But you find the power that we use at home, we call it an alternating current, which is too high for our machine to use. So once it is connected in the machine using the power cord, now the power supply converts it into a direct current. Now, what is a power supply? A power supply is an electrical device that supplies electrical power to an electrical load. We need to note it's an electrical device that supplies electrical power to an electric load. Now, the primary function of a power supply is to convert electrical current from a source to the correct voltage. The primary function of a power supply is to convert electric current from a source to the correct voltage, current, and frequency to power the load. I repeat again, power supply is an electronic device that supplies electrical load, and the primary function of the power supply is to convert the electric current from the source to the correct voltage. Now, a power supply tester. What is a power supply tester? It is a device that checks whether the computer power supply is working properly. A device that checks whether the computer power supply is working properly. So you need to know power supply supplies electric load to the components inside a computer. Good. Without a power supply, your computer cannot work. Good. We have types of power supply. We have DC power supply. When you talk about DC is direct current power supply. Now, a DC power supply is one that supplies a constant DC voltage to its load. Depending on the design, a DC power supply may be powered from a DC source or from an AC source, such as the power mains. DC power supply is the one that supplies a constant DC voltage to its load. Depending on its design, a DC power supply may be powered from a DC source or from an AC source, such as the power main. The power supply that immediately do not need to convert AC to DC, it converts directly to DC. Then number 2, we have AC to DC supply. AC to DC supply. It uses AC's mains electricity as an energy source. An AC mains electricity as an energy source. Such power supplies we employ a transformer to convert the input voltage to a higher lower voltage, AC voltage. Now, you find in this AC power supply, which is mostly found in most of the PC, you find we have an AC to DC, whereby it gets power from the main source, then it has to be converted into DC. And inside that power supply, we have a transformer. Now, a transformer converts the input voltage to a higher or lower AC voltage. Then inside that power supply, we have a rectifier. A rectifier is used to convert the transformer output voltage to a varying DC voltage, which in turn is passed through an electric filter to convert it to an underregulated DC voltage. We are saying a rectifier is used to convert the transformer output voltage to a varying DC voltage, which in turn is passed through an electric filter to convert it to an unregulated DC voltage. Now, we have the switched mode power supply. A switched mode power supply, SMPS, the AC, the alternating current mains input, is directly rectified and then filtered to obtain a DC voltage. Then we have programmable power supply. A programmable power supply is the one that allows remote control of its operation through an analog input or digital interface such as RS-232 or GPIB. Now, importance or point to note on the power supply. Power supply converts main AC lower voltage regulated DC power from the internal components of a computer. It converts AC to lower voltage regulated DC power from the internal components of a computer. Now, problems of a power supply. What are some of the problems that your power supply can experience? What are some of the problems that your power supply can experience? We have a blackout. Now, blackouts, there is a black and there is out. Maybe like what happens in our estates. We are being told today by the Kenya Power there is a blackout. From the word blackout, we mean that there is complete loss of AC power. Alternating current is not there. That's a problem that can affect the power supply. And you are being told a blown fuse, damaged transformer, or downed power line can cause a blackout. Complete loss of AC power, a blown fuse, damaged transformer, or downed power line can cause a blackout. Then we have a brownout. Brownout, reduced voltage level of AC power. Reduced voltage level of AC power that lasts for a period of time. Now, brownouts occur when the power line voltage drops below 80%. Brownouts occur when the power line voltage drops below 80% of the normal voltage level and when electrical circuits are overloaded. And when electrical circuits are overloaded, you can have a brownout that has, now you find it's a regulated voltage level AC, that's for a period of time. Brownouts occur when the power line voltage drops below 80% of the normal voltage level and when electrical circuits are overloaded. We have noise. What is noise? Noise is interference from generators and writings. And interference from generators and writings. Noise results in poor quality power, which can cause errors in a computer system. Noise results in poor quality power, which can cause error in a computer system. And find there is an interference, for example, the lightning, the generator. This can cause the quality of power coming to the computer and can affect the power supply. We have a spike. For example, those of you who play volleyball, there is a spike, a sudden spike. Now, sudden increase in voltage that lasts for a shorter period and exceeds 100% of the normal voltage on a line. sudden increase in voltage that lasts for a shorter period and exceeds 10% of the normal voltage on a line. Spikes can be caused by lightning strikes, but can also occur when the electrical system comes back after a blackout. You find there was a blackout, and again power comes suddenly, your computer can have a spike. A spike can cause damage to your power supply. Then you have power surge. Power surge is a dramatic increase in voltage above the normal flow of electrical current. Dramatic increase in voltage above the normal flow of electrical current. A power surge lasts for a few nanoseconds or 1 billion of a second. Now, symptoms of a failed power supply. We have seen some of the problems that can cause your power supply to fail or not to function. Then we have the symptoms. How can you tell that your power supply has a problem? Now, any power on or system startup failures or lockups, if you start to boot your computer and you find your computer cannot open, that tells you that your computer has a power supply problem. Then if you find there is spontaneous rebooting or intermittent lockups during normal operation, you find your computer is booting, rebooting, you will tell that there is a problem. Now, then there is intermittent parity check or other memory type errors. Yes, then you find there are HDD and fan simultaneously failing to spin. You find if your computer has a fan that cools the power supply. So you find if it's not spinning, there is a problem. Then if you touch your computer, then you find it's too hot. There is overheating. Again, there can be a problem of a power supply. Then you find small brownout that cause the system to restart. Small brownouts that can cause a system to restart. Small brownouts that can cause the system to restart. That's also a problem of the power supply. Then you might hear there are strange noises. Strange noises may emit from the back of the computer case where the cord is located. Strange noises may emit from the back of the computer case where the cord is located. Then you find that can also cause a problem of the power supply. Then we have electric shocks that are felt when the case is touched. If you touch your computer now, you hear there is an electric shock, then you know that your power supply has a problem. Now, there are some power protection devices that you can use to help your power supply from these problems. There are some power protection devices that you can use to protect your power supply from this problem. Now, to help shield against power fluctuation problem, use devices to protect the data and computer equipment. Now, number one, you can use a surge suppressor. A surge suppressor, what does it do? It helps protect against damage from spikes and surges. What we have talked about, dramatic increase or decrease of power, which can cause a power supply problem. You can use a surge processor. Now, a surge suppressor diverts extra electrical voltage that is on the line to the ground. A surge suppressor diverts an electrical voltage that is on the line to the ground. There's a surge suppressor diverts an electrical voltage that is on line to the ground. Then we have UPS. UPS is interruptible power supply. UPS now helps protect against potential electric power, helps protect against potential electrical power problems by supplying a consistent level of electric power to a computer or other device. It helps protect against potential electrical power problem by supplying a consistent level of power to the computer or other devices. or other devices. Now, the battery is constantly recharging while the UPS is in use. The battery is constantly recharging while the UPS is in use. Now, the UPS provides a consistent quality of power when brownouts and blackouts occur. Now, UPS is an interruptible power supply that reserves some power in case there is a failure of main power. It gives you some time so that you are able now to shut down your computer properly. Now, many UPS devices can communicate directly to the computer operating system. Now, and this communication allows the UPS to safely shut down the computer and save data prior to the UPS losing all battery power. Now, standby power supplies, they are called SPS. Now, they help protect against potential electric powers. They help protect against potential electric power problems by providing a backup battery, to supply power when the incoming voltage drops below the normal level, to supply power when the incoming voltage drops below the normal level. Now, the battery is on standby during normal operation. When the voltage decreases, the battery provides DC power to a power inverter, which converts it to AC power for the computer. This device is not as reliable as a UPS because of the time it takes to switch over to the battery. If the switching device fails, the battery cannot supply power to the computer. Now, we have power supply form factors. Now, form factor is how power supplies are made. For example, we have some of us who are tall, some of us are short, some of us are plump, some of us are thin. Now, power supplies comes into different forms and sizes. Now, like motherboard and computer cases, power supply may have form factors, sizes, connector, types, output specifications, and other important specs. The detailed difference between these power supplies are extremely important and can make the difference between the ability to run a computer at its full potential and having a potentially unstable computer. The detailed difference between these power supplies are extremely important and can make the difference between the ability to run a computer at its full potential and having a potentially unstable computer. Examples of computer desktop power supply form factors. We have advanced technology called AT. Advanced technology, this is AT. This is the original power supply. This is the original power supply for legacy computer. Legacy computer systems now considered obsolete. They are no longer in use. Then we have Advanced Technology Extended ATX. It is the updated version of the AT, but still considered to be obsolete. It is the updated version of AT, but still considered to be obsolete. Now, ATX12V. This is the most common power supply on the market today. It includes a second motherboard connector to provide dedicated power to the CPU. And there are several versions of ATX12V available. Then we have EPS12V. Now, this was originally designed for network servers, but is now commonly used in high-end desktop model. Now, ATX. Although there are still 80 form factor power supplies available to purchase, AT form factor power supplies are undoubtedly phased out product. Even later, ATX form factor power supply are falling out of favor. The major difference between ATX, Advanced Technology Extended, and Advanced Technology Power Supply form factor are three. Now, Why do we go for ATX? ATX power supplies provide an extra 3.3 voltage rail. Now, again, ATX power supply use a 20-pin connector as a main connector, and ATX power supply support the soft off feature, allowing the software to run off the power supply, allowing the software to run off the power supply. Now, ATX12V. Now, ATX12V form factor is a mainstream choice now. There are several different versions of the ATX12V form factor, and they can be very different from one another. The ATX12V, that is V.10 specification added on the original ATX form factor, a 4-pin plus 12V connector to deliver power exclusively. Then we have EPS 12V, SFX 12V, and others. Now, then power supplies have connectors. Now, a power supply includes several connectors. What are these connectors? These connectors are used to provide various internal components such as motherboard and disk drive. Remember, the motherboard is supplied by the power supply. Without a power supply, the motherboard will not have power. Good. These connectors are keyed, which means that they are designed to be inserted in one orientation. Now, the different connectors also provide different voltages. The most common voltages supplied are 3.3 volts, 5 volts, and 12 volts. We have different types of connectors. We have 20-pin or 20-pin slotted connector. We have SATA keyed connectors. We have Morex keyed connectors. We have bag keyed connectors, 4-pin, 8-pin auxiliary power connectors, and 6 to 8 pins PCIe power connector. Now, common power supply connectors, we have connector and description, 20-pin or 24-pin slotted connector. Now, its description connects to the motherboard. The 24-pin connector has 2 rows of pins each. And again, the 20-pin connector has 10 rows of pins each. Then we have the SATA keyed connector. Connects disk drives. Connector is wider and thinner than a Morex connector. Morex keyed connector connects hard drives, optical drives, and other devices. Badge keyed connector connect to legacy floppy drives, smaller than a Morex connector. 4 to 8 pin auxiliary power connector. Connector has 2 rows of 2 to 4 pins and supplies power to different areas of the motherboard. The auxiliary power connector is the same shape as the main power connector but smaller. 6 to 8 pin PCIe power connector. Connector has 2 rows of 3 to 4 pins and supplies power to internal components. Now, the connector provided by your power supply determine the type of devices that can be connected to it. Therefore, it is extremely important that you choose a PSU with all the connector. And here we have examples of 4-pin connector, 6-pin, 8-pin, and 24-pin connector. These are the connectors that you plug in to the motherboard, Now, main power connector and processor power connector. Now, the main power connector is used to directly connect to the motherboard, and PSU. 2 types of main power connector are often utilized in today's PCU. The 20-pin and 24-pin formats. As described in the above section, the 24-pin main power connector was introduced with the ATX12V, that is 0.20 specification, and there are more and more motherboards providing 24-pin power connector sockets. Now, to provide compatibility with older motherboard featuring 20-pin power socket design, some PSU provide 20 plus 4-pin main power connectors. As in the image above, this type of power connector is very versatile and can easily be used with both 20-pin and 24-pin motherboard. As you can see, the image above shows a 20-pin and 24-pin cable, that is the left, and a 4-pin 20-pin 24 cable 20. This 20-pin, you can see it. This is 24-pin. This is a 4-pin, and this is a 8-pin connector, 8-pin power cable, power converter cable, right? Now, the former converts your power supply 20-pin mains power connector into 24-pin connector, and thus can be used on any 24-pin motherboard. There are also 24-pin to 20-pin and 8-pin to 4-pin converter cables available as well. Then we have other power connectors. There are two power connectors provided by PSU, including floppy drives connector, that's called the mini connectors. We have the PCIe connectors. These are for the high-end video cards, and 6-pin. There are two types as shown below. You can see here we have a 4-pin Morex peripheral connector, and we have the SATA. We have the SATA. Now, you can continue reading on the power supply. You can continue reading more and more about the power supply. The next thing I want us to look, at the internal parts of a power supply. Internal parts of a power supply. Just a minute. Just a minute as we share something here. I want to share your screen. In case I have a question, you can post it in the forum. Just feel free to ask any question. You can post it into the forum, and I will assist you. You can post it into the forum, and I will assist you. Then talk to the next of your colleagues. Tell them that the exams are scheduled for June. Exams are scheduled for June from 1st. You should be able to get your timetable for all the students so that you are able to complete your January, April semester. You are able to complete your January, April semester. I want to share another screen. showing you about the internal parts of a power supply. There it is. Very well. Now, as you see, we said a power supply is an electrical device that converts AC to DC voltage, and we looked at that. Now, we said an AC to DC power supply, AC to DC power supply, has the following parts. Number one, it has the transformer. Now, what is a transformer? What if you hear in your estate that the transformer has broken? What happens? Now, the transformer is a static device that transfers electric energy from the primary winding to the secondary winding, affecting the frequency. It uses step up or step down the voltage, the AC voltage levels, and isolates the remainder of the electronic system from the AC power. You see the transformer. Then read more on these notes. This is the image of a power supply, a simple power supply that is used in desktop computers. And if you can see, it has a lot of power supply connectors. Maybe these are 20 pin, a 4 pin, these are SATA, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pin, 4 pin. There are so many pins. What we are talking about connectors. Then it has a rectifier. Now this used to change the AC power into DC power. Then we have the filter. The filter of the power supply is used to keep the ripple component from appearing in the output. Now it is designed to convert the pulsating from rectifier circuit into. I'll share these notes with you about power supply, internal parts. You see it in a minute. Then I'll share an assignment. And then we have voltage regulators. I want you to go through these notes so that you'll be able to attempt the question. This is what you were expected to cover yesterday. Remember, these are makeup video that I'm doing because yesterday I waited for you, nobody came. Just a minute, I'm sharing these notes. I wish you well. Go through the video, then you should be able to answer the questions. As well.